Hey YouTube. So, I don't know what it is, but 20 and 21, these last couple of years have just been a nightmare for privacy. It just seems like all the major companies who are doing a lot with privacy, Google, Facebook, and WhatsApp, and all those kind of companies, it just seems like they really don't give a shit. And they think that they can get away with stuff without people finding out about it. Now, today I discovered, I'm going to post a link in the description below as well, that Google have been following and tracking people's activity even when you use the incognito mode. Now, if you don't know about this, basically in most browsers, there's a kind of like private browsing mode. In Chrome, it's called incognito. In Safari and Brave and so on, it's called private. There's different names for it, but basically the idea about this mode is that you're supposed to be able to browse without it being able to track anything you do. So the idea is that you could basically use it. It's really good for public computers, for example. Use it, and then when you close it down, it remembers nothing. No searches, no history. It doesn't track any data about what you're doing. It's basically invisible. You're supposed to be invisible. However, Google in Chrome, you can, Google have been following what you've been doing on it. They don't track as much as when you're on the normal version of Chrome, but when you use incognito mode, they're actually following, and some security researchers and people found this out, and they eventually filed a lawsuit against Google for this. Now, Google tried to have this thrown out by basically saying that incognito is not invisible, so they're two different things. Now, whilst grammatically speaking, incognito and invisible are two separate words, so congratulations Google for that. The fact is that incognito basically means not be known. That's the whole purpose of that word, essentially. It's not to be completely invisible, it's mean not be known. So when you use this mode in Chrome and it actually follows you, in some cases, some users reported still seeing ads for things that they were doing in that session, which means that they are tracking data and they were sending this data through a special mechanism to the servers in California, to Google, not through the normal way that they would do it when they send data when you do not use incognito mode. I just want to call out Google on their bullshit, because incognito, when they say it doesn't mean invisible, that is the purpose. If you're going to make incognito mode, if that's what you're going to do not track anything. That's the whole point. This is the kind of bullshit that users are trying to call out. When you basically make an invisible mode and it's not invisible, you can call it incognito, private, whatever the hell you want. That's the purpose of it. But you haven't even got that right. Incognito means to not be known. So by doing that, you're now breaking that. Now, Google were gaining some credit these last few months with the whole stuff in Australia and things like that. And I was like, right, maybe they're stepping their game up. Maybe they're going to change the way they are. But then they're still pulling this crap off. So my advice is just, if you use Chrome, which I don't, but if you do use it and you're using incognito mode, the fact is, to Google, you're not very incognito. They're still tracking that data and it's still getting sent to Google servers. Now, some users reported ads being served this way, but there are also other security implications for this, of course, because there are very legitimate reasons to use incognito mode. But I mean, this is just really bad behavior. This is corporate behavior. This is completely unethical. Now, calling Google unethical is obviously not a new thing, but Google really need to step their game up with this. You know, there are two tracks that companies can go down. You can go the Facebook route, which is obviously going to be disastrous, or you can go a better route and try to fight for privacy. I'm not going to use Apple as the main person for this, the main company for this, because obviously they have issues probably at some point, but they're the ones trying to hammer down their privacy right now, and Facebook are doing the opposite. Now, Google, you have a choice, right? But you cannot remain hidden for this. Security researchers and hackers will find this out. So you need to get on top of this. Right now, if you want to use incognito mode or some kind of private browsing feature, or if you use computers in any public internet cafe, because those are still really popular in some parts of the world, Chrome is absolutely not one of the browsers you should be using, you should use something else. So anyway, I would love to actually just provide some really good news about technology and tech companies doing the right things. But as it turns out, 2020 and 2021 is shaping up to be one of those years where, yeah, it's just going to be full of these kind of stories, I think. So if you've got Chrome, just remove it, use another browser. There are loads out there. And Google, shame on you for doing this. Sort your shit out. And hopefully there'll be some good news to post about this in the near future.